Welcome to our Ayurvedic talk. We are doing a special talk tonight based on the Ayurvedic spring cleanse. In Ayurveda, we do cleanses between seasons. Spring cleanse is a little bit different than the fall cleanse. Fall cleanse, we're removing excess heat from summer because heat does accumulate in the body when you are exposed to it for long periods of time. And so we want to help remove that out of the body because that can cause an imbalance and then it compromises the immune system. So you want to go into winter being strong so you don't get sick. As we come out of winter, it's a completely different type of cleanse. I like to use the analogy of in the fall, the wind comes in, the leaves start to die, everything falls to the ground. And then it just sits there. Then we have snow where we live, but it sits on the ground. It's dormant. Wintertime is dormant, cold, harsh, and it sits. And so all that debris sits there and it accumulates, right? There might be more and more debris through the winter that'll continue to accumulate. In the spring, as the days start warming up, things start to change. Snow starts to melt and the streams start becoming bigger and all that debris that was on the ground now starts getting pulled into our streams and our rivers. That same process is happening inside of each of us. So we literally are warming up. The snow is melting. The cold is melting outside and inside. And that means that any toxins or anything that has accumulated is going to now come into the bloodstream. What we want to do with the Ayurvedic cleanse is we want to help transition us into spring so that we are not going to experience a cold or flu. And I always tell everybody, a cold, it's very explanatory, right? It's literally telling you what it is. A cold. A cold is excess kapha. That means that you have an excess of the water and the earth elements, okay? I want to remind you that the elements in Ayurveda are not abstract. A lot of times I'll talk to people who have not been exposed to these concepts and they don't know how to wrap their head around the elements. But just take for a moment to think about the fact that when you breathe, you are taking in air. So you literally have air that makes up who you are. You need water that makes up who you are. You also need fire. You need warmth. You would die without warmth. Okay, and then you also need earth. That earth comes from the plants and the food that we eat, which comes from the earth. It literally grows in the earth, and that becomes our tissue. We are made up of the elements, and that's why when you have these transitions and seasons, they are impacting us. So as we move into spring, the elements that are starting to become dominant in the atmosphere is moisture and heaviness. And it's still cold usually. I mean, we're going to start getting warm days, but there's still cold. Those are heavy elements. Those are kapha. Those are part of kapha, okay, the dosha of kapha. The spring cleanse helps us to remove the debris, the accumulated toxins that was dormant there in the tissues. And for sometimes I have people that I work with where the debris has been there for years. They've never done a cleanse. They've never experienced that. This is a really transformational process. So we remove the debris. We help remove excess kapha, the moisture, the heaviness, and all of the earth and the water elements. We want to remove excess because we're moving into this springtime of growth. And we want to move into it feeling light. That's the key feeling that you want to have. Move into spring and you feel lighter. And you're literally going to become part of that whole blossoming of spring, because you're able to grow and move into it feeling uplifted. And people who have a lot of heaviness in their body literally have heaviness, and it causes sluggish digestion. It causes lethargy. It causes us to feel melancholy and depressed. We can't get around and move as easily when we have these heavy kapha elements in us, especially in excess. Okay, so in Ayurveda, we are looking at each season and we are managing our own particular constitution, and we are managing how our constitution moves through these different seasons. It's really important because we want to reverse the disease pathway. So if you have toxins in your body, then they accumulate and accumulate and accumulate. If they don't get removed, they will show up as some sort of a symptom. You're going to have something that manifests. If you continue to not do something about the imbalance, it will move deeper into the tissues. So it literally starts moving down what we call the disease pathway. So it moves from one system, and then it spreads into another system, and then another system, and then another system. And you will end up with layers and layers and layers of issues. Okay? So we are turning the disease pathway around. That's what we want to do with these cleanses. We are literally stopping it, turning it around, removing the toxins so that the body can actually do what it naturally does. We have the capability of healing our own bodies. Your body knows what to do, and we want to help it and support it. That's what we're doing. The Ayurvedic cleanse, I'm going to do something a little bit different this year, this spring. I'm going to do an online program where we meet on certain days, and it will be a home program, something you can do at home. If you do not want to do that and you feel like you need a little more support, then you can just make an appointment with me and I will work with you one-on-one. Okay. So that's how I'm going to do it this time. And the one-on-one will have a different price, but I'm going to make the online very affordable. Our first session will just be like a drop-in fee that you pay for the regular yoga classes. That'll be the first session, and then we go from there. Okay, so it'll be simple, easy, and affordable. Okay, because this is an important process. Okay, and things that you want to do when you're on the cleanse, you have to adjust your diet. You have to. We're trying to become lighter. If you decide to do the cleanse and not adjust your diet, it's like never taking out your trash. The other thing that once you do complete the cleanse, you really want to kind of maintain that 80-20 rule. 80% of the time, you eat clean, you eat well, you eat in a way that supports your body. Why wouldn't you? It's giving you health. Look what your body does for you. It's allowing you to hold this beautiful spirit that you have so that you can have this life experience and grow and evolve. And we are stunting our ability to live and feel good about life when we bog ourselves down with all the stuff that we bring into the body. So once you get through the cleanse, I really want to encourage you to kind of stick with a clean diet. You can go back to some of what you were doing, but I just want you to think about it this way. If you take out the trash, you clean everything out, you're not going to go back out and get the trash and bring it back in. Okay? Disgusting. Or you're just defeating the purpose. You're now going to cause your body to move down the disease pathway again. And we don't want that. We want to be happy. We're going to live this life. Why not be happy and have a good quality of life? Life is life, right? Life happens. There's drama in life. There's life events that happen that's challenging. You're going to be much more capable of dealing with the challenges of life if you are maintaining proper health according to your constitution. So each person that does a cleanse, we are not like in Western medicine or Western philosophy where, oh, something's good for someone, it must be good for everyone. And then we get into these trends, like everybody's fasting. I've had to tell some of my clients, you're not going to fast. It's not appropriate for you. It's going to deplete you. So what's good for one person isn't necessarily good for another person. So the cleanses are individualized. When we get into these online classes, you will have the ability to talk about what's going on with you, and we can just kind of cater it to you. And like I told you guys before we got online here, it's great when we do that because your question is going to probably answer somebody else's question. Okay, so you lighten up your diet, you're eliminating sugar. You want very low carb diet, so low carb diet, which means you got to check out the glycemic index. You got to look and see what's on the glycemic index. Go low. You want to cut out meat if you can, or as much as possible, especially heavy meats. So no dark meats, no beef, nothing heavy. If you can eliminate it, especially during certain parts of the cleanse, you're really going to notice a huge difference. But I really tell everybody, just do your best. No processed foods. Try to eliminate things that come out of a package. So, you know, no Hot Pockets and all of those kinds of things. And none of that. You don't want that. None of the packaged burritos or anything like that. Get it out of your diet. You also want to eliminate alcohol and drugs and those kinds of things. I do have to say that because sometimes people really like their alcohol. It is also ideal to cut out caffeine. I do realize that some people really are attached to your coffee. You need to look at that. And it may not be supporting you. It may not be supporting your constitution. There is kapha constitution can have a little bit of caffeine because kapha needs more stimulation because they're earth and water. However, the other constitutions, no, it's not good for you. It's going to dry you out and deplete you. And we don't want to be depleted. That's going to cause problems. So if you can cut coffee out, do it. If you have to wean off, do it. If you cut cold turkey with coffee, some people get headaches. Be aware of that. So no caffeine, no alcohol, no dairy. Dairy is heavy. So we are eliminating foods that have the elements of water and earth. We're eliminating those. So we are all on a cleanse going into what's a kapha reducing diet. So that means no dairy because dairy is heavy. No cheese. You want to get rid of nothing cold because that's an element of kapha. Kapha's cold. It's one of the qualities of kapha, not an element. It's one of the qualities. So we are trying to do the opposite. So no cold drinks, no ice, warm. You drink warm, hot water all day long. And I would really recommend the digestive tea, which is equal parts of coriander seed, fennel seed, and cumin seed. It's magical. It really is magical. It will stoke your digestive fire. So it'll make your appetite stronger, and you want that. Okay? So that's the gist. So nothing cold and moist. And that is why they call a cold, because you have taken in food that was cold and heavy, and it's cold and heavy, and then you get a cold. You get a cold in the cold. Okay. All right. So I'm going to open it up to questions if you guys have any questions. Oh, also really quick, this does take a few weeks. It takes a few weeks. And if you've never done a cleanse, I would really say hang in there, and you really want the longer cleanse because you'll get the best results. You're not just physically cleansing, it is a mental cleansing and an emotional cleansing as well. So you get such benefit. Things that may have weighed on you, all of a sudden, they dissipate. You're literally changing your chemistry. Okay, so any questions? You guys good?
Sugar from apples.
What about apples?
Sugar, that has sugar in it.
Okay, but it's a natural sugar. All I would say to you is that if you're eating it in its natural form, like an apple, fine.
So nothing with
But
apples.
no juice, no fruit juices. There's just too many calories.
What about freshly pressed juice?
No, too many calories.
It came like you pressed it yourself, and it's only the ingredients of
The problem with juice, this is a really good question, actually. The problem with juice, did you guys ever see that thing, or I don't remember what juice company it was, but it takes like how many oranges to make a small cup of juice? It was like 30 oranges to make a small cup of juice. That's a ton of calories. So no juice. You want to eliminate that. You can have the actual fruit because it's fiber. That's great. But not juice. Water. Warm water. You can have tea. You can have the digestive tea. It's not forever. You can do it. All right. Any other questions?
What about carbohydrates? Okay, never mind.
What about what?
Like what kind of carbohydrates?
We can go over that, but I would check the low glycemic index to see what's low as far as carb. And
quick off the top of your head.
I can also, please email me, and I can email you your particular food list. So if you know that you are a Pitta constitution and you run hot, I will email you the Pitta food list. So you'll get your specific list. Okay? Cheryl, do you have a question?
Yeah, so it kind of led into it. So I don't know what I am.
Yeah. So let's talk, Cheryl, after
Okay.
class today, if that's okay.
Okay.
And then we'll talk about it. If you don't know what your constitution is, you need an Ayurveda consultation, right?
Can you do that online? Oh, sorry.
I can send you a test to fill out, but then you're only going to get a general idea. Here's what I tell everybody. And I'm teaching the class right now at TMCC at the community college. And I gave them the list. They all went home. They were so excited. And they filled out the dosha list, and then they came back to class and they had to redo it. Why? Because when people fill out the online tests, what they do is they fill out based on their conditions right now. Of course, that makes sense. But that doesn't mean that's your born constitution. Maybe you developed a digestive imbalance in your 20s, and now you still have that digestive imbalance, and maybe it's even gotten worse. And so you're going to write that down. It's a digestive, or maybe you have a sleep imbalance that has been going on for the last few years. You're going to write that down, but that may not be part of your constitution that you were born with. So your born constitution, that's your dosha, but it is not necessarily what's going on with you. What's going on with you could be your constitution, but it also could be an imbalance. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had it done twice.
It's okay, Cheryl.
No, it does make sense. I'm just trying to figure out how I could get it.
Well, you know what? We'll talk after class and we'll figure it out.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else have a question? Jill, you have a question.
Well, I want to encourage everybody because I did do the fall rejuvenation cleanse with Marie, and it really made a big difference in my life. And it's the first time I've done it, so it was great. And so I'm curious on the spring one, is it similar in the sense of the diet, the food, and then the oleation and the purge, or
Yeah,
what's
it is.
different about it?
Yeah, it is similar. But there's a rejuvenation phase with the fall cleanse. So the spring cleanse is a little bit more stimulating. It's a little bit more because we want to remove heavy. So we're a lot more diligent about, whereas in fall, we're really trying to pay attention to, we're more interested in removing the excess heat. That's what we're removing, a different element in the fall. In the spring, we're removing those heavy and moist qualities because those are accumulating. And heavy moist is going to make us feel lethargic. Digestion's going to be sluggish. We are going to be sluggish. It's kind of like you walk around and you feel like I'm not really that comfortable in my own skin. And that's what happens. When you feel good, you feel light and vibrant, right? And that's what we're trying to do. We want to stimulate everything. So it is a little bit more stimulating, the spring cleanse. Okay, so it'll be a little different, Jill.
It's still wonderful. The fall one
And
was.
Jill did a really good job with her fall cleanse.
It wasn't that hard. It really wasn't, and I've stuck with it mostly, and it definitely makes a big difference. So
All
I
right.
encourage everybody.
This one will be a little bit different. If you decide to do the online cleanse, it's gonna meet and it'll be certain meeting times. If you miss it, that's okay. You can get the recording. I'll send you the recording, but it'll be a little bit different. It'll be a little bit different than like what I did with Jill. But if you do want to do one-on-one, I will totally work with you. Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Barbara, do you have any questions? Yes.
Yeah, how many weeks is this?
It usually takes about 2 to 3 weeks.
And so no kombucha because kombucha is cold and it has caffeine and it has juice in it.
It doesn't have caffeine. It depends on the kombucha.
Well, is it kombucha with the black tea? It's made with black tea usually.
Yeah, I mean, I make kombucha without black tea, but you can get kombucha without black tea. Kombucha is going to be okay if you are more vata or kapha. If you are running hot, then you have to be careful with kombucha. And if you are not aware, kombucha really is a digestive stimulant. It's a way of stimulating digestion. So you're only going to have like a small amount, 2 to 4 ounces. I always tell everybody, it's so popular right now. I go to Whole Foods and I see everybody there drinking their giant 16-ounce kombucha for lunch. And they should have no more than like 2 to 4 ounces because it's a way of stimulating digestion. So that's another example of what we do here in the West is, oh, more must be better, right? Kombucha is good for you. More must be better. But kombucha might be fine for you, Barbara. It really might be fine for you to keep your digestion strong.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
I have a question for Jill, and she may not, you don't have to answer if you don't want to. Did you find when you did the diet change that you kind of kept some of the diet change after you did the cleanse?
Yes,
Like,
I did
yeah.
most of it, but I kind of ate that way anyway, so it wasn't
Oh.
a dramatic change for me. And some things I did, and I did the 80-20, maybe the 70-30 sometimes, because it was right for the holidays.
Oh, yeah.
So, but now I've actually already started cutting things out, getting ready. I've already cut out refined sugar and heavy meats, dairy, because we're going into spring and I'll react if I eat those foods. But so to answer your question, it wasn't that hard for me at all because my diet is similar to it, other than, the things I know that aren't
Oh,
that great.
The occasional, which
Thank
you.
it's fine. You guys live life, enjoy it.
It was fun and I loved it. I felt great. And everybody around me goes, "What are you doing?" I'm doing this cleanse. I go, "Oh, cleanses are, I go, no, it's not fasting. Everybody thinks you're cleansing and it's
Yeah.
fasting." I said, "No, I'm eating. I'm,
Yeah, no,
just,
it's not
it was
fasting.
great. It was great. I felt wonderful."
The other thing too is if you are prone towards allergies, you're going to find that you're going to be less likely to have allergies. The other thing that it helps out with, like headaches. So Emily, if you're listening, which I know you are, it would probably very much help with headaches.
Okay, good.
Yeah, because you're removing the stuff that is accumulating that causes that pressure. It's toxins that build up. Like you can get a tension headache, yes. But a lot of times the headaches that people get, it can be because of toxins that are in the system. Okay, so it will help with all of that. It's shocking, really, what it ends up helping with. Okay, like arthritis, it will help with joint pain. Your joints are going to feel amazing because there's an oleation phase. Your joints are going to be like, oh my God, I feel so good. You will feel lubricated. Okay. Oh, Jill has another question.
I bet. That was an amazing part of it too. I don't have a lot of joint pain, but I had some injuries early in the summer, and I'm not kidding you. I strained my finger, the fourth finger, all the way down the hand, and when I was doing the cleanse, it went away. It's never come back.
And you had
And
that
and she
thing.
kept saying your joints will be looser, and I never thought mine were stiff until I did the cleanse, and I was like, oh wow, I feel like I didn't realize that I was stiffer than I thought, and
Yeah.
it is great.
You have a different measure now. You don't know what you don't know, right? You don't know. So now you have a different measure. Now you realize, wow, my joints really were kind of stiff. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Everybody's good.
Is there a healthy amount of weight loss that comes with it?
You will have some weight loss usually. Not everybody. I've had a few people that didn't lose weight. I had a couple that I took through a cleanse last year, and they had done this cayenne pepper lemon cleanse, and he got extremely depleted, started having some health issues. She was in a different place. I had to actually rejuvenate him. I had to not take him through a cleanse. I had to guide him towards gaining some weight and getting his body back on balance, so he was not going to have the symptoms of the stuff that he had going on happening. And it worked. And whereas with her, I was able to take her through the cleanse. So everybody's different. But yeah, you will lose weight. You're lightening everything up. So what are you doing? You're removing heaviness. And if you've got excess weight, you will remove the heaviness of excess weight. It's a good question. Thank you.
I have one more question. When do you suggest we start? I'm in a different climate than you. It's supposed to be hitting 70s, if you can believe it.
Yeah,
You know,
you can start.
I believe it.
I will be sending out an email this week to start the online cleanse if you want to do that. It'll be starting in like 2 weeks. But you can start now if you wanted. We could set an appointment and get you going right away. Yeah, if you're in a climate. Like people, like Cheryl, you're in San Jose. So you could start the cleanse tomorrow if you wanted to. But if you want to be part of the group, it's nice because you're going to get like I said, you're going to hear their questions, and like you were just able to talk to Jill and hear how Jill went through her fall cleanse. So it's good.
So even if I do a little bit more private, I can still come to the classes, right?
You
And
can. Yeah.
tell my experiences if it's helpful.
Yeah.
I never looked forward to a cleanse before. I'm looking forward to this one because, I tend to shy away from those because sometimes they're difficult, but this wasn't. I never felt headachy or
No, it's
I don't know. I just felt really good through the whole thing.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. All right. Super exciting.
Thank you.
If you would like to, I'm going to end the recording now, but if you would like to, I'm going to do a practice after this, which is a practice that helps support digestion. We want a really strong digestion as we do our spring cleanse because we want to remove the heavy, moist. We need that stimulation going. We need that vibrancy going in digestion so that everything is going to start moving and going. All right, so we're doing a short practice for that. Yes, Barbara?
Before you do that, will you please look at the appointments that I have scheduled with you in the next few weeks and just see if you can add an individual consultation for this so I can talk
Sure.
to you quickly about it.
Absolutely,
If you
absolutely.
could
Okay.
do an extra hour with that, that's what I'd
Okay,
like to do.
great. All right.
Okay. And I'm not going to stay for the practice because I've
Okay, no
much
problem.
exercise
All right.
today.
So I'm just gonna put this on stop.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.